Hello everyone, Darius Smith of WMYD Channel 20's What's Up Detroit is here at WDHT TV. Welcome to Off the Cuff, where the headlines come to life.
Thank you. Thank
Darius,
you for having me.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Welcome, welcome. Some exciting stuff going on in and around Detroit.
Yes.
And there's a show called What's Up Detroit.
Yes.
And how long has that been on the air?
We are on we just uploaded our 5th episode of season 2.
Wonderful. So you're fairly new to Channel 20. So
Yes.
tell us how that came about and how that brainchild sort of evolved and how you got involved with it. Those
Sure.
are 3 loaded questions.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I'm from Ann Arbor. And so initially I had a website that was geared towards Ypsilanti, and I felt like there was a gap in the market for Ypsilanti, that there wasn't a lot of good news that was highlighting Ypsilanti. And so the website did very well, and then I ended up selling it because I came to the point of, okay, Ypsilanti has 20,000 permanent residents and additional 20,000 from EMU, but you know.
So this was something you created. It was a website
Yes.
you created, and it was more leaning towards the Ypsilanti community.
Yes.
Okay.
So then I was like, okay, so do I go and compete with AnnArbor.com, or do I go to Detroit that didn't really have what I saw as a new age news media, and especially highlighting good news, as you know. And this was probably about 4 or 5 years ago when Detroit was just starting to turn back around. So I said, let's go to Detroit. And then so I started What's Up Detroit, and right when I was starting it, the first person, during the time I met Denise Illich through a mutual friend.
Just happened to me, Denise
Yeah, well, a mutual, I was working at the Charles H. Wright Museum, and I was running their retail store and still running my website. And I met one of her friends, and she was like, oh my God, you gotta meet my friend Denise. And I did some design things on the side, and she has her Denise Illich Designs company, and I made this pretty cool bracelet that's made out of a baseball cuff. She loved it, and it kind of just took off from there, and that's why I still do some design works with her. And then we partnered on the What's Up Detroit, which at that time—
So you're co-producers?
Yes, yes. And at that time, it was just geared towards the website. Then I was like, you know, it seems like there's a gap in the market again for a cool, fun roundtable. So that was the first pilot, was just a cool, fun roundtable of everything going on in Detroit. And then I was like, maybe we should try this, and before you know it, we had a full show. So we started with TV 20 for season 1. And I had some really cool co-hosts. I think you've met some of them or seen some of them.
I have.
Nina and Jen.
Right.
It was just us 3 for season 1.
Jennifer McMahon.
Yes.
And Nina Kalasho.
Kalasho, yes. So it was just, and then just the 3 of us represented a good group of diversity for the season 1. But at the end of season 1, Denise and I talked, and it's great when I have these talks with Denise, because she has some reminiscent times of Little Caesars and when they first began, and you know, she was
pioneers in Detroit.
Pioneer, absolutely. So whenever she gets like that, my ears are totally open, my mouth is zipped, and I'm trying to get as many tidbits as I can. And she said that the thing that they did was really focused on the product. You know, so I took 2 months and really just focused on the product, because backstepping to season 1, we had Kim, the R&B singer, who's a friend of mine, goes to my church. We had Andre Drummond from the Pistons. We had Jimmy Howard, and there's all these great people showing us love on the show. But it was just a lot of interviews. So then I took that time to figure out what is our format. Yes. What separates us. So then when it's all said and done, we became like a extra for Detroit, you know, an entertainment news platform for Detroit. And then another job and responsibility that I had with Denise Illich was running part of Ambassador magazine. So as I did that for about 3 years, and I'm still involved with that. But Ambassador magazine opened up my eyes to thousands and thousands of events that was going on in Detroit that I knew nothing about coming from Ann Arbor. So then I'm like, okay, well, if I didn't know about these events, other people don't know about these events. So now we have about 7 events a week that range from galas to concerts and obviously sporting events. So we highlight all those things, and we try to be a hub for people to know what's going on or what's up in Detroit.
Now, does it have to be in Detroit, or do you cover the suburbs in Metro Detroit?
Metro Detroit, yes, because she has 220 in Birmingham, so we do a lot of things out there, and I have a few clients out in Birmingham, and I live in Ann Arbor, and even at all these places, a lot of people are like, okay, well, what is there to do in Detroit? I hear all these exciting things. So the concentration is Detroit, but we have expanded out.
Well, we were talking earlier. You really, your background is not really in TV production and what have you.
Yes.
So, what is your background in, and how did you sort of get into this whole theme of television and hosting? And you're the host.
Yes.
Of this program.
Yes.
And you have the co-hosts. So basically, it's your gig. So
yes.
How did this sort of come about, other than just meeting Denise, because that's a very different kind of focus?
Yes, absolutely. Well, I do have some background in the performing world. I mean, I used to act quite a bit, but more or less music. I used to sing classical, so did Carnegie Hall, I did Apollo, because I did some gospel rapping stuff, so always had a passion for music, loved to be on stage a long time ago. When I had my daughter, who is now 7, a lot of that changed. I've always also had a mutual passion for business, and my major was a double major of music and business. So I really, once my daughter was born, it was like, okay, the music and all that's great, but let's put all that to the side. It's time to make money. It's time to really get into the business world. And even to backtrack a little bit from that, I think I'm 38 now. When I was like 21, I wanted to jump all the way into business, and I felt like the best way to do that, because I knew that one day I would be a CEO of a company, of my company. So I wanted to learn every aspect of business. So I've done pretty much every job you can imagine, from running a bank to marketing and all these different types of things. But the goal was to get as much of an understanding as I could in each department. So when I do get to the CEO role, I know how each department should be ran. So that progressed, and then, as I said, I ended up at the Charles H. Wright Museum, met a lot of people through that. I was doing a lot of their Google AdWords and analytics and digital marketing, which had become a concentration of mine as well. And then it just continued to grow. As I mentioned, the Denise Illich Design things, Ambassador Magazine, and taking on a couple other clients in the meantime. And then once and as I've mentioned a couple times, my biggest thing has been, okay, what are gaps in the market, especially with Detroit right now? Detroit, in my perspective, is a gold mine, because as it's growing and as it's progressing, if you can identify things that are going on in major cities that are not going on here, then you can do well. And I think What's Up Detroit is an example of that. If you go to other major cities, they have local programming. And now that we're back at a place where everybody's excited about Detroit and wants to be a part, when celebrities and athletes come into town, hey, can we come on your show for a second? Let people know we have this concert going on, or and then we're starting to do some work with Opportunity Detroit, who we've been working with indirectly for about a year now. So. Very excited about the things Dan Gilbert has going on.
Oh wow, yes, he's definitely taken Detroit to a different level.
Yes,
and there's so many different conversations in regarding to that, but I think he's just really pumped some life back into, especially economically speaking.
Absolutely.
A few days ago, we actually had a meeting with the mayor of Detroit, and I think what's going on within the city is phenomenal.
Absolutely.
I mean, just the excitement. the new businesses, you know, the e-commerce that has been attracted to Detroit, and the exciting restaurants. You know, everything within Detroit looks like it's so vibrant and phenomenal, and it's just such a positive feeling. My daughter actually works down there as well, cool. And she's telling me, you know, from when she started to now, it's a hub now. People are there, and it's working. But the concern that I had, and maybe you can shed some light on this, is that when you look in Detroit, it's wonderful. But then when I drive within the suburbs of Detroit, I see the total destruction of the homes, the dilapidated buildings, and the poverty that is still there. And so it's such a contrast from what you see, you know, within our city, which is phenomenal, and you hope, you know, that trickles out. But that sense and that vision of, you know, the suburbs within Detroit, you know, the neighborhoods, and how to get to a point where, you know, people are vibrant, people are living in those homes, and we're being able to fix, you know, those residences, so the homeless can actually, you know, have somewhere to go. So that in itself is something that, you know, needs to have a conversation. So what is your take on that? The hustle and bustle in Detroit, the excitement, and yes, you know, we're coming back and everything, but then the contrast. So how do we focus on that?
You know, I feel I've seen both sides. I do a lot of work with some people who are doing things directly in the community. One place is a Church of the Messiah. It's not a church that I attend, but they are, the work that they do in the neighborhoods. I mean, they do nonviolent marches, and to give a good view of what they're dealing with. I mean, last year when I participated in their nonviolent march, and two of the teens that were helping to put it all together got murdered on 2 separate occasions 2 weeks prior to that event. But also on the flip side of that, they have kids that come in and they teach them how to fix bikes, and then they get to take those bikes home, and they teach them how to put together a computer, and they get to take those computers home. You know, so the work that they do is amazing. So, but I think that it's good that the conversation comes up about the 2 Detroits. You know, and as the conversation comes up, then people are becoming more aware of it. I definitely don't fault the people who are focusing and concentrating on building up the downtown Detroit.
Absolutely not, because you know, you want that to trickle out, and with opportunity, you know, those people have jobs, and they're able to, you know, renovate. They're able to, you know, take back their neighborhoods, basically. So absolutely, but the concept is, how long is that going to take? You know, and when are the individuals who really need to benefit, you know, economically speaking, from Detroit's comeback? Is it going to touch them? So. And
one other thing I'll say about that too, because I've actually really been thinking about this a lot, and you know, I'm born and raised in Ann Arbor, but all of my family is from Detroit. My mom and dad are both from Detroit. They ended up at U of M, and they had me. So, and then my mom stayed out there, so that's why I'm out there. But half of my life and half of my summers was in Detroit. And so recently, I was looking at some properties, as everybody is. You know, what are those gems I could find in New Center or Boston Edison or something like that. And I wound up back on my old grandma's street. And it was cool because when there was about 30 people on the porch across the street on a Tuesday evening, and I just pulled up, and I asked one of the guys, I said, "Is Desmond here?" And he was a friend of mine from 20-something years ago, and he was there, you know. So I hung out with him and talked and everything, and he was talking about even that neighborhood, who is a neighborhood that is underdeveloped. But how there's been diversity coming in there for the first time of his life. You know, he's like, I have white friends now, you know, and he's never experienced that. But long story short, I think it really comes to a couple of things. One, communication between the 2 worlds, and 2, the people of those communities taking over their blocks and their streets again.
Absolutely.
And saying
and they
we're
need
going
to be empowered to
Yes.
be able to do that.
Yes.
And I grew up as well in Detroit. On John R.
Oh,
My dad actually had a grocery store, and I'm going to age myself. He was in the early '60s, and so we actually lived in that vicinity there, and going to Hudson's and
Oh yes, yes.
I mean Detroit was like I'd be out and all over the place, and so that's home to me as well, and
Yes.
so you just want to be able to see it come back, and you want to be able
Yes.
to see it revitalized. And you said something earlier, I finally have a white friend. I mean, we're in 2016,
Exactly.
and this is still, our area,
Yeah.
or our story, and that's really sad.
It is.
I believe definitely in diversity, and I believe in getting to know other people, and you've gotta, it's about the human element.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think Detroit needs to concentrate on the human element rather than the differences in individuals, and so that is so important to me. When you
Yes.
said that really struck a chord, because that shouldn't be the conversation right now.
Absolutely. No.
And I think if it hadn't, we'd be a lot further in what we need to do.
I agree.
But on a nicer note here and a happier note,
Yes.
I mean, you enlist a lot of, you talk to a lot of celebrities, you talk to a lot of, the hottest things that are going on in Detroit.
Yes.
So what was the most famous person you talked to?
Oh, that's a good question. Now, if they're watching, they're all gonna
Right?
want to be named. Let's see. I think that there's just been so many people. I really enjoyed my conversation with Kim because he's a good friend of mine, and just his story. Him being homeless and being on drugs, and coming to God and agreeing that he would change if he, helped him change and all that. And to see all the years later how far he's come, and each year he goes back and he goes back to Mac and Third and gives a free concert and helps the community. So he's doing, I think he's a great example of what we need. Kim, he's an R&B singer.
Okay.
He's actually on Motown as well.
Okay. So sort of an inspirational kind of message for
Yes.
everyone.
And I think that that's the difference with a lot of the interviews that we have, because people that we have come on there, we don't want to hear the same story that everybody else would get.
Right.
We want to hear the journey. What got you to the point that you're at now, and what's next?
You covered Martha Reeves' 75th birthday.
Yes.
And Martha is an amazing person.
Yes.
And you talk about journey. The conference I do, we talked about a little bit. It's Images and Perceptions Diversity Conference. And Martha actually was one of the speakers a couple of years ago. And she talked about her journey. And she talked about being an artist in the 60s
Yes.
with Motown and with Marvin Gaye. And when they traveled, in and around the country. And I don't think there was a dry eye in the house, and mine weren't. I was just crying when she was telling us the story that when she was in the bus, the white performers were able to go into the hotels,
Yes.
and the African American performers had to stay and sleep on the bus.
Yeah.
And just hearing that, and hearing it from someone who actually lived it, was just electric, and
Yes.
and I think it just made people think about that journey and about where we were and where we need to be.
Yes.
And when we think about where we are, we have so much more
So
to
much
move
more.
forward
Absolutely.
with, and that's really important. But I think these kinds of shows, and educating people and letting people know that we are a comeback city,
Yes.
and we're going to make it, and look at what's going on, and look at the individuals that are coming in. I was talking with the International Visitors Bureau, and they are booked for next year in
Nice.
terms of Cobo Hall, in terms
Very
of
nice.
the different activities within Detroit. So we're attracting people. So what kind of shows do you have planned to sort of say, hey, Detroit's the place to be.
Yes.
What's up, Detroit?
Yes.
So what's happening in the next couple of months that we want people to know about?
Well, actually, and I'll share kind of the larger picture. So as What's Up Detroit continues to progress and becomes more on an autopilot. What I'm in the process of doing is I have a full media company now. It's Detroit Media Holdings, and What's Up Detroit being a part of that. And then we've been approached by a couple of other potential shows that are currently existing. They will fall under that umbrella, but we have an internet radio and TV station that we're kicking off in the next 3 weeks, actually. And the goal of that is to take all the content from these shows and have a place that we could pump it onto. Although we love TV20 and we love WADL, who we are also on. We're on Saturdays at 7 p.m. on WADL.
And WDHT.
Yeah. Yes, and WDHT. But we would love to have our own place that we don't have to pay anybody else, because we have enough traffic and things going on that we can have one spot. So that's the ultimate goal. There's some music mixed in with that. In the Penobscot, we have a full TV studio, music studio, and internet radio station. And so Martha Reeves came in there, and it was great to talk with her. But we have a few artists that we're dealing with too. So that's somewhat of the overall picture of things that are going on right now. But yeah, we are halfway through season 2 already, which is crazy. But it's exciting. But what we've been formatting and branching into is our show will be a collaboration of a number of smaller shows that will branch off to their own shows. We have Jemana K. Ruse on the show now. She's on at least every other week.
Oh,
and
okay.
it's cool because, here's Jemana K. Ruse, this mega super successful attorney. Amazing person. But now we're able to see her everyday kind of life. Her at home, her just relaxed, talking as we're talking. So she's on there. Jonathan Holloway, who's, so we did a contest between season 1 and season 2 for new host. And the winners of those were Jonathan Holloway, who was on The Bachelorette and Bachelor in Paradise. So his segment on our show, which hopefully will be on this week, if not, his segment will be on next week. But it is the Single in Detroit. So,
okay.
But it's similar to like
that's a little bit of a spin.
Yes, it is. But since he was on Bachelor and in that kind of realm, and it's very reminiscent to Love Connection, where he's sitting down talking with one person, and then they kind of find ladies that fit into that profile and that thing. Grace Leung is a fashion blogger, and she has a segment on our show, and it's called I Want Her Closet, which I'm sure you can, looking at your outfit, you should be on that as well. But so she just goes into ladies' closets, the fluent ladies' closet, and just highlights how cool and nice and organized and all that each of these closets are.
I would not let her come in. No,
she can't come in mine either. So, and then we have Leanne, who is a new co-host as well, and it's like an inspirational moment. So she speaks with people in the philanthropic world. So those are our main concentrations in addition to our.
So what does Nina Kalasho do on the show?
So Nina, she
has some exciting stuff that she
presents. She does the fun stuff. Between her and Jen, they make sure they do the fun stuff. So Nina highlights events. She highlights Find Her in a D. So if you find Nina out and about in a D, she'll ask you these trivia questions. If you get them right, then you'll win prizes. Let's see, Jen does, she introduces a lot of the makeup moments, the Grace Leung part, and music in Motown. And then yeah, and they're both doing a lot of modeling and other acting things too. So we're very excited. We have 6 billboards going up this weekend.
Oh, wonderful! So, in and around Detroit.
Yes, starting from the airport area on 94.
Advertising What's Up Detroit.
Advertising What's Up Detroit.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. I also want to play your intro, and I love the song.
Okay,
too.
Cool.
That's wonderful.
Thank
So
you. Yes.
let's play that for a second.
All right.
What's up, Detroit? How have you been? What's up with fashion and sports? Places I've never been. For the ladies
love the song.
Thank you.
It's a wonderful song.
I wrote the song.
Did you?
I
wrote
did not
the
sing
song.
it. Yes,
okay.
I didn't sing
Barry
it.
Manilow has a song that's
I wrote
titled
yes.
that. And were you involved in the editing of that and the producing of it as well?
No, just a good friend of mine, Philanina and Ernest. They put it together. You know, so ideally, what I wanted to do was I wanted to do the whole "Hello Detroit" thing.
Okay.
But change it up for "What's Up Detroit."
Yeah,
so.
well, it's very, very appropriate for the theme of your show.
Thank you.
Really quick, we only have a few minutes, but what's it like working with the pizza queen,
Oh,
Denise
yes.
Illich?
Denise is amazing. You know,
She's a wonderful person.
Wonderful person. The first day that we met, we hit it off. You know, she reminds me of Ann Arborite. You know, I'm in Ann Arbor, so she reminds me of that. But she's amazing, and you know, as I mentioned before, just getting a chance to talk with her, kind of off-camera type of thing, and getting those business tips and even life's tips, you know, and being able to contribute to some of the things that she's doing. You know, she called me in, I guess 2 years ago now, and said, hey, me and my new partner, Zaid Alaya, we bought this building in downtown Birmingham, and there's a restaurant in there, and we're going to completely revamp 220. Yeah, and we would love for you to be in on the meeting. So it was like a 6-8 hour meeting one day, and you know, it's just things that if I had to put a resume together, it would be great.
Sure, absolutely. Now, does she probably opens a lot of doors to get into these different you know, communities and these different organizations and businesses within Detroit.
Yes.
What's really quick? We're gonna wrap this up.
Okay.
But what's the most exciting show that you've done so far, and the most exciting individual that you have come across on What's Up Detroit? You
know, the most exciting show for me is probably season 2, episode 1 or episode 2. Because then it's always a beautiful thing when you envision something in your mind to be able to see it come to fruition. And the time that I spent in revamping the show to be a format that could be a national platform. What was your most memorable moment on the show? Most memorable moment on the show? I don't know. There's a lot. I like that's coming up on this episode. I say from recently is Michelle Williams from Destiny Child. She's on this one. And she was talking about her new home decor things, and I offered her my shirt off my back, and she almost accepted it, but we cut. So that was fun.
Pretty exciting.
Yes, that was exciting.
I know there's a lot of things happening in Detroit in regards to, you know, the games, you know, entertainment, the restaurants. I mean, it's just bursting with live music, with fun entertainment. So Detroit is our comeback kid. It is, yes. Hopefully in a few years it is going to be the place to be. And I think people are going to get that idea between shows like this and What's Up Detroit.
Absolutely.
So wishing you the best.
Thank you. Thank you
know,
as well.
Keep giving us that information. And I know you have a website too.
Yes.
Right?
What'sUpDetroit.com.
What'sUpDetroit.com, and they can always flip to that and find out the new exciting things that are happening in Detroit.
Absolutely.
Darius,
yes.
Thank you so much for being here. I wish you the best of luck, and I'm sure you and Denise Illich will create some exciting moments for us on What's Up Detroit, WMYD Channel 20. Check it out, everyone, and thank you for being with us on Off the Cuff. We'll see you next time.